The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah!
Go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on the break!
With Ambar Garcia, Brian Broaddus, Nick Harris, and Derek Eagleton.
Season 20, episode 12 of The Break. We are live from Oxnard, California. We're presented by LG. LG is the world's #1 OLED TV brand for 11 years and counting. See why at LG.com/OLED Evo.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show. We got lots to talk about.
They are a badass company.
Wow. Yeah,
With
they
a
are.
badass name.
I love the energy this morning. Let's keep it going.
Let's go.
We got a lot we're going to talk about this morning. We've got Cowboys looking for a little defensive end help.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that here in a second. We'll get some practice notes and some observations from you guys from what you've seen over the last couple days of practice. The pads have come on, so it's a good time to observe what players have been showing up when now there's a little bit more contact. And then we got a few storylines we're going to hit. I want to talk a little bit about some of the guys that are returning from injury and what we've seen from them so far. Maybe even see if we have some time to get into what has been a big Achilles heel for this defense at times over the last few years, stopping the run, and the players that are going to be most important to fixing that going into the 2024 season. So let's start first with defensive end help. Nick, tell me a little bit about what the guys that they're bringing in this morning, bringing in some guys for workouts.
Yeah, bringing in 4 guys for workouts in the wake of the Sam Williams injury. And honestly, according to kind of the rumblings, this was even a position group that they maybe were looking to address even before that injury. So now it becomes even more important looking at these guys. But the name up top is Carl Lawson. You're probably familiar with his productivity, 27 career sacks in 74 games. A little bit more of a power guy, but he does have tools in his tool bag that kind of shows some speed stuff and shows his athleticism around the edge too. I think he marries those two things really well. He might cost you a little bit more than these other guys, but I think if he comes out here and has a really good workout, I think they could probably make something work. Shaka Toney, a round 7 pick for Washington back in 2021, was college teammates with Micah Parsons. 1.5 career sacks in 26 games, only lasted 2 seasons with the Commanders, and has kind of just found his spot on some practice squads since then. Justin Hollins, he's a grad of Arlington Martin High School down in Arlington. 5th round pick for Denver back in 2019, 10.5 career sacks in 67 games. So a little bit more experience than Toney, but productivity still kind of rolling around that same stratosphere. And then Al-Quadin Muhammad, a 6th round pick out of New Orleans in 2017. He's been out of the league since last year. He was out of the league last year, but 12 career sacks in 84 games. What he brings you is his productivity in stopping the run, though. So I think if they want a guy who can be that run stopper around the edge, if they want another one that they can pair with DeMarcus Lawrence and now Marshawn Nealon, the young guy, then Al-Quadin Muhammad would be an interesting addition. For me, I'm interested to see if they add 1 or 2. I think potentially adding 2 could be an option for them, just kind of depending on how the numbers work out and obviously the workouts themselves. But this is an interesting crop of guys. I think they'll be able to kind of see who's the better one, and we'll see who they sign at the end of the day.
Well, you get your fastball working today.
Yeah, appreciate it.
On the
appreciate
black.
It, Brian. Appreciate it, Brian.
Yeah.
Paint the lines. Paint the lines.
No, man, absolutely. I'll tell you this, though. You mentioned about Muhammad as a run defender and all that. The guy's got some explosive quickness. With the Indianapolis Colts, you can watch him, the way that he gets up the field and then is able to redirect. Like to see him squeeze the hole a little bit better in the run game stuff. But when you start to talk about the pass rush skills, the moves, the hand stuff and all that, kind of a guy that's got a little bit of both when it comes to the run defending stuff and then also the pass rush. I also took a peek at, you mentioned Hollins. I watched him. He was Green Bay and then Chargers late in the year. And this guy is like a long, rangy, and when we talk about long, those tall, linear, long-arm guys, he played as a little bit of a stand-up edge. So what happens was he was on 2 teams where he played on odd man fronts, where it was 3-4 front, where it wasn't hand down. It was stand up and rush. But I'll tell you one thing. This guy, he plays off the blocks. He's really good with his extension. He could dip the corner pretty well. I think he needs a little bit more power when handling those rushes. But the chase, all those things about that, they've got some guys here that they brought in that kind of we were talking about. How does it fill in for Sam Williams potentially? You're probably not going to replace Sam Williams, but can you get some of the traits that he had? The length, the ability to get around the corner, the quickness, the ability to maybe make a tackle or two in the run game and stuff like that. So they've got some guys that they're bringing in, at least they're going to take a look at, I feel like kind of fit the bill of what they're trying to do in their scheme.
That being said, I'd love you guys to give me a name of one of these guys you would say, if you had to choose, which one, based on what you've seen, best fits that role of giving you something, maybe a little, not everything, but some of what you miss now without Sam Williams.
I would go with Hollins myself. I just think that he's more like how he's built, that he fits the eye of what I've seen. Now, I will say this. Tony is an interesting cat because you could watch him play a ton of special teams. So he kind of fits that role. He was stand-up guy with the Commanders, but he was hand down with the Commanders. He's another guy that's got that little bit of that explosiveness off the edge. He can close down pretty well. He chases the ball well. I just, if you're saying, okay, what type of guy do you want? You want a guy that can come in and potentially rush and give you something like what Sam Williams was doing. How did Sam Williams get injured?
Yeah.
They were doing special teams drills and things like that. So I think Tony might be that guy, but if the guy that fits my eye, I would go with Hollins. I know everybody wants Carl Lawson. I think I would go a little bit different route there for me personally. I like Carl Lawson, but man, these other guys that they were looking at, or that I was looking at today, I thought maybe a little bit more explosive with their rush, a little bit more explosive getting around the corner, and maybe a little bit of younger players involved as well.
Do you factor money into that as well, or is it from a pure scouting perspective?
Man, I never worry about the money here.
Okay.
Look, the scouts don't worry about the money.
Somebody else's problem. I'm just
let the cap guys figure that one out.
My man asked me who I would bring in here. You know what?
Yeah.
I told you who I would bring in here.
You'll be a scout till the day you die. It's what you do.
Last time they asked me that in 2005, they said, we don't want to ask you that anymore. They sent me on my way. So, I think you're right about with Lawson. But maybe Lawson's in a situation where he wants to get into a camp. I know these others are guys that, Hollins has played last year. Tony was a guy that sat out all last year. So I think there's some guys that are anxious to get, and maybe it fits into the budget to what they're doing.
With me, and this is a boring answer, but with Lawson, I look more at
you want the veteran cat.
Who has the experience? Who has the most sacks?
Don't make so much sense. Don't do that.
Well, the thing is, Brian, with these younger guys, you're wanting them to step up. We know that the linebacker position, you're dealing with that on its own. Then you talk about defensive end. You don't want an extra problem happening there. So you already have different areas that you're having to work with youth and younger players. So if I can have a veteran guy that can come in here and just kind of do his thing, adjust how he can adjust, follow my Zimmer and his scheme and all of that, then that's what I'm taking at this point. Beggars can't be choosers, so I'm going with the guy with the most experience.
Man, you are no fun.
Well, here's the other question,
I'm boring.
A guy like, let's throw out a guy like Tyler Sweet, who I think flashed out here last year. He's had some moments where you're like, he's got a little something. Are any of these guys necessarily better than what you project Tyler Sweet can be if given the opportunity?
Nick, what did you see of Tyler Sweet coming out of college?
I didn't do a whole lot of studying on Wheat coming out of college, I'll say that. But as far as his rookie season, very interested to see how they continue to use him in the Mike Zimmer system, because Dan Quinn had him working with the linebackers.
Right. He's more of an edge.
But he's more of an edge.
Okay.
I do know that.
But to be fair, Sam Williams to me seemed like more that kind of guy too, where he's just like he just go get the quarterback. I don't know that he was great in run defense. He wasn't that guy, right?
I think it's going to sound strange. I think that Carl Lawson is probably a better run defender. Sam Williams better pass rusher.
Right.
Yeah.
Carl Lawson better run defender. So if you're thinking about, okay, well, man, we've got to stop the run. We've got to, everybody's so conscious of that now. Yeah. Don't forget they throw the ball in this league. And you got to be able to get some pass rush. So, like I say, I was trying to find some guys, and I think they are too, of guys that had those traits. Can they play the run? Can we get a guy that's got a little bit of a combination of both? Ambar's right about Carl Lawson, veteran guy, pass rusher, play the run well. That's a good fit. But the thing with Wheat, I just remember him in college was rush the passer guy. And I think there's some times out here where you see that, but you would like to see it to where it's not one every 4 snaps or 5 snaps. It's it's more of a consistent thing.
I'd love to know what the philosophy conversation was whenever Sam Williams went down. Was it, hey, we need to get a guy who can come in and still help in the run defense? We still need help in that department. Or was it a conversation where it was like, hey, we've lost 2 pass rushers in Dorrance Armstrong and Dante Fowler. Now Sam, we need to add a guy who has a pass rush specialty. So I would have loved to understand the philosophy conversation that went into bringing these 4 guys in.
You told me this Marshawn Nealon can play run defense.
Oh, 1,000%.
I knew that. I trusted you, and I think they're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I think that they're saying, you know what, we lost Sam here, but this gives us an opportunity to play Nealon a little bit more here, give him a little bit more of an opportunity. He can play the run. You see him out there playing the run. So to me, it softens the blow. I hate losing Sam. I'm going to say this, though. There ain't anybody on this panel that didn't have questions about Sam Williams going into this thing.
Yeah.
We were all kind of like, man, if Sam could do it, Sam could step up. Boy, they're going to be a lot better at end. They're going to be, and there are a lot of questions, and you still have questions now, but he's no longer here.
Yeah.
But Nealon, I think, softens the blow a little bit for me because you are seeing some traits of his ability. I'm seeing a little pass rush out of him, which I didn't think he had. Yeah. And when we interviewed Will McClay on 105.3 The Fan, Will's like, man, he's showing some things that we didn't think. I'm like, he could get off the ball like a pass rusher.
Yeah.
He's got a little bit of a burst to him. And so he's worked with somebody to get him a little bit quicker off the ball.
One thing I'll say about Sam Williams, I actually had no doubt that Sam Williams could fill the deficit of the number of sacks that Dorrance Armstrong had last season. I really didn't. What I didn't know was how many penalties that are costly are going to come with those 8 sacks. Like, that's what and honestly, that's what we all have seen from Sam. Like, Sam was a player. Sam can play football. He can go get the quarterback. The question is he always going to make the smart play?
Yeah.
And I think that's what this year was going to be about for me with Sam is, has he learned how to be able to play a little bit more controlled so he doesn't end up with the bad play that goes with the good play or negates the good play. But I think that's the part where now Marshawn Nealon as a rookie, can he replace that production? Like, somebody's got to replace that production because you want them going to get the quarterback. That's where I'm a little bit more concerned.
You guys all remember David Irving, right?
Yes, we do. Of course we do.
Yeah, those were good days.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
what I'm saying.
Great commercials.
That was strange. David stopped playing and we're still in the law commercial. And it's kind of fitting for both. But the thing with David Irving, though, remember how it was some of the like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
NFC Player of the Week. He was played 12 plays. He had like 4 sacks, 2 caused fumbles. Sam Williams is capable of doing the same things, but Sam Williams was also capable of the David Irving, like jumping off sides, hands to the face, hitting the quarterback late. Yeah. That's what you were going to get with Sam, and David Irving as well.
Yeah, we're going to take our first break. We will come back. We're going to get some practice observations here, what these guys think of the first 2 days in pads. We'll do that when we come right back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
If you can't be at the stadium, there's no better way to watch your Cowboys than on an LG OLED Evo TV. That's because everything you see is more lifelike. Every play, every hit. I mean, you might as well be on the sidelines. That's how clear it is. It's all thanks to LG's legendary technology. Perfect black, over 8.3 million self-lit pixels. No one comes close. LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game for a reason. See for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
Don't put off getting your oil change, Dallas. Take 5 Oil Change, a proud partner of the Cowboys, is faster than you think. There's no appointment needed and no waiting room. Yep, you heard that correctly. Take 5 is so fast, you don't even have to get out of your car. You can take advantage of Take 5's fast, friendly, and simple service at any of their locations across the Dallas area. And remember, at With Take 5, you stay in your car because they're faster than you think. Take 5, the official oil change of the Dallas Cowboys.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a pepper thing.
Life doesn't stop when the economy is uncertain. The market might not care you have a wedding to plan or a kid to put through school. And inflation doesn't know you've got a family to feed. But Bank of America does, and is here to help. With digital tools to help you save and local experts nearby, you can keep life moving forward the way you need it to. Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com. Bank of America N.A., member FDIC, equal credit opportunity lender.
Back to the break.
LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game, but don't take our word for it. Digital Trends said the LG OLED G4 has the best picture quality they've ever seen. See it for yourself, Brian, at lg.com/OLED Evo.
She ramped up the speed on you even. I mean, she's really trying to just dig into the ground.
Her accent saying it is even better.
Yeah.
It just kind of like it really like, whoa, hey.
You lost your job, Brian.
I love this. I love this LG love we got right now.
I'm good for like the rodeo reads. Yeah, come see the rodeo.
Yeah, you fumbled under Jimmy Johnson. That's what just happened.
I was like, hey, I will step back from that.
Welcome back. It is the second segment of the break. We're in Oxnard, California. The machines are out there working on the field, so you guys know. Yeah, we are in Oxnard because you hear that constant hum in the background. Yeah. We'll be out here for another 3 weeks? We're 2.5, a week and a half in, and so we got another 2.5 weeks out here. And now Amber's going to cut it a little short. She's like, I'm going home at some point, but the rest of us will be here till the end, and then we'll get back to our normal confines at the Star in Frisco. All right, let's get some practice observations. What did you guys see over the first 2 days of padded practices? Let's go down the line. Tell me what you saw. Give me one observation. Amber, let's start with you.
Okay. I have a lot of people who have been asking me, and I've seen people asking questions about Dak Prescott, and I know that's a simple observation here, but so far he's looked really good. Everything that he's made, I mean, there have been a couple of mistakes here and there, but I remember the time where he would practice horribly, and we would talk about it and criticize him, and then, when the lights come on, he shows up. So I started thinking, I'm like, man, okay, every year he has improved something in his game, in his career. He's improved every single year. Last year it was the whole conversation with, was he going to be able to improve the interceptions or not? He did. Then before that, it was like, can he throw down the field? He did. Can he run with he has. So it led me to thinking, what is it this season that we are exactly looking for him to improve this year? And I can't really think of anything specifically other than finishing games the way that it needs to be finished. So question for you guys, if you had to pinpoint something that he needs to improve at this camp, this season, what would that be?
I would say pushing the ball downfield on a consistent basis. I really loved what they did with the offense last year as far as getting a lot of guys open in space in the 5, 10, 15-yard radiuses. I want to see him push the ball downfield to CD even more. And not to say that they didn't do it last year. They had the longest play in the NFL last season. But I would like to see that more on a consistent basis. And I think Jalen Tolbert kind of coming into his own as a possession guy even, I think there's going to be more opportunities to be able to do that. You saw him also improve that footwork last year. I think that still needs to take another step as far as him in the pocket, being able to work some things, the athleticism, getting out of the pocket. There's always things to improve in those little nuances. So those are the two things I'm really looking for when it comes to Dak Prescott.
One thing I'll kind of question you on a little bit is when you talk about throwing the ball downfield, I think they threw the ball downfield pretty decent amount of times. I don't think it was a problem for me. Where I would see that is I want to see them, and this is more of a coaching thing than a Dak thing, create some opportunities to go downfield to Turpin and to Cooks. There were a number of times last year when I did see both those guys open downfield, and it wasn't like there were some times I thought they should have attacked more downfield with those guys, and they didn't. There were other times I saw when they would, and the ball didn't necessarily go to them. So maybe it's a concerted effort between the offensive coaches and Dak, but I think really getting some opportunities with those two guys is even more important because that's the speed of your offense. That's where you got those game breakers that can quickly get you a score or get you downfield really quickly. I think that's where I'd like to see a little bit more.
You saw that in the San Francisco game. Whenever they really needed that score in the first half, they go to Turpin. And it was about a 30, 35-yard touchdown. So, yeah, I'm with you 100% there. You had those speed weapons. Get them the ball out in space, whether that be in the short yardage or also downfield. You can push the top open on them. But it was specifically in the first 10 games of the season last year. You saw so much action right between the hashes. I want to see a little bit more on the outside downfield.
So you're saying downfield perimeter? Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay,
downfield perimeter more so.
Yeah, that kind of goes to your point where you're talking about. It's like they're playing under center more, you know. And Dak we've seen Dak play shotgun so much. Under center means heavy play action game, and all of a sudden, heavy play action game means turn your back to the defense and make a throw. We saw Trey Lance throw an interception off heavy play action and then spin to try and find the receiver, and it ended up being an interception down the red zone. So with Dak and all that, though, getting more comfortable with that being under center and then making, if it's the heavy fakes, and then coming back and being accurate with your throws. Because that's something that looks like to me they're going to try and incorporate more in their running game, or they'll try to get the running game going maybe that way. But if they can get the running game going, now you see the heavy play action stuff. So Dak, fake, turn your back, come back, be accurate with the throw wherever it is in the secondary.
So let me ask you this question, Brian. Have you seen a situation in your experience in the NFL where you could get a good heavy play action game working when you don't have a game-breaking running game?
Sometimes you could fool these linebackers. You could get them to step up.
Yeah.
Just because
it might come.
Just because you're taught the reads. Just because you're taught, like, okay, they're going to run the ball. Even teams that don't run the ball particularly well but still use play action somehow get defenders to step up. And then all of a sudden you get linebackers to step up, and that creates those seams between the safeties and then with the linebackers and where they are. And that's where the quick throws. But yesterday, like I said, we saw with Trey Lance, heavy play action, you know, and then they got the receiver coming off the backside there. It was who was it that came from the backside there? Oh, where did my guy go? Crooms. And Crooms was coming, and Crooms was you could see that Crooms was like, damn, you got to get me the ball, man. You know, but so if you're going to do that, it's going to be the fake, and you're going to take advantage. But Bell was sitting right there. So anything like that, where do we get disappointed with Dak at times? The interceptions where he doesn't see the drop defenders.
Yeah.
So if you go heavy under center and then you go play action, make sure that those throws you see everybody that's in the drop areas, and make sure that doesn't turn into a turnover.
All right, Nick, give me an observation.
Yeah, first 2 days in pads, I had my eyes on the trenches. I know me and Brian spent a little bit of time watching individual drills down there too, but Tyler Guyton looks really strong on these first 2 days, as well as Brock Hoffman. So if you're looking at these two battles on the offensive line at left tackle and center, those are obviously the two leaders in the clubhouse for me right now. I'll start with Guyton. I think tempered expectations are probably realistic and healthy going into this camp when it comes to Tyler Guyton. And
oh, come on, man. Don't do that to everybody.
No. I know, and I kind of teetered with this on Twitter a little bit too, and fans were like, hey, we have nothing to be excited about. Let us be excited about this. And I was like, yeah, you can be excited about it. I want you to be. But also don't be down in the dumps when he has a bad day, because that will come. It's 14 games of experience that he's bringing into the NFL. Those lulls will come. And again, that's not a knock on Tyler Guyton. Personally, I think he's going to be a great pro. But I think if we look up a year or 2 years from now, we'll look at the first-round picks. He's probably somewhere in the middle. But I think when we look 4 or 5 years down the line, when we start talking about those fifth-year options, he's going to be one of the better picks in the first round, in my opinion. I think it's just going to take reps. It's going to take development. I mean, there are some fans that are saying, hey, we don't even want to see him week one. I was like, yeah, you want to see him week one. You want to see him go against Myles Garrett. Yeah. If he gets his butt whooped, he gets his butt whooped, and that's a really good learning lesson for him. But these first 2 days in pads have been great for Tyler Guyton. It reminded me very similar to what he did the first yesterday at the Senior Bowl up in Mobile just 6 months ago. It was actually 6 months to the day from the first padded practice to that first day in Mobile. And then that second day in Mobile, you would have been surprised to see him go in the first round. So he's going to have the ups, he's going to have the downs. He's new to the left tackle position. Yes, he's used to protecting the blind side of the quarterback. He understands the depth of pocket that he needs to create. He understands the athleticism factor of that. But also, there's still going to be some things that he has to work on as far as mirroring his technique to the left side and accounting for guys like Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Marshawn Nealon. Those lulls will come. And then Brock Hoffman, I think he is leaps and bounds above where the rest of the center competition is right now.
I didn't
awesome.
expect him to be as good as he has been.
I'm starting to get to the point to where I'd be surprised if he's not the Week 1 starter. Yeah. I'm not going to put a claim on anything yet because we haven't seen anything in preseason games yet. Those games obviously weigh so much more than what's going on out here. But yeah, Hoffman is clearly taking a step forward. BB, you can tell that he's starting to pick up on what's going on at the center position, but those snaps are errant right now, and he's gonna have to get those shotgun snaps in check.
Let me ask you a question on Hoffman, and you all can chime in on this. I was particularly the video that I saw a couple people putting out there on Hoffman. It was a play where Mazi, and I think you mentioned something about it when you and I kind of talked a little bit about it on Twitter, but Hoffman basically got pushed right back. Mazi just kind of bull rushed him right back toward the quarterback. Hoffman did then anchor, settled in, and he didn't end up in the quarterback's lap. That being said, are there any concerns from the standpoint of the strength of someone like Hoffman when it comes to playing the center position? Because one thing we know, and we saw this, in the past with centers that were, at that position, that there are times when you will have to face in this league some defensive tackles who are just big and
especially in this
powerful.
division.
Yeah, just powerful men who will push you back. Are there any concerns with his strength from that standpoint?
I think he's going to have his learning moments this year for sure when it comes to that. Like you said, this division, it's not forgiving when it comes to that defensive tackle position. He is still a third-year undrafted free agent who got cut in his very first spot, but he has taken those steps forward to being a projected starter, at least at this point. When it comes from a strength perspective, that is something he has been focusing a ton on this offseason. He's been one of the few guys that has been in the weight room every single day as far as trying to get stronger, trying to perfect his technique when it comes to guys that he knows are stronger than him. He's going to have a guy across the line at some point that's going to be 20, 30 pounds, maybe heavier than him. How is he going to account for that? And this is that anchor, and that's really important for him to show. And I think maybe that's what you didn't see at times from Tyler Guyton, and that's probably why the question is present, is sometimes he got overwhelmed when it came from a strength perspective. Yes, he has the technique, and yes, there's that, but when a guy is just simply stronger than him, how can he account for that? I've seen it with Brock Hoffman a couple of times, because you saw it in practice a couple of times this time last year with Jonathan Hankins, and that's what made me stand out. That's what made Brock Hoffman stand out initially to me this time last year, was he was able to keep Hankins in check, knowing that guy had the 30 pounds on him at that time. So I trust Brock Hoffman in a strength perspective, but I think it's going to come with its losses as well. It's going to come with its learning moments.
First off, I want to apologize for my wet blanket colleague here that I'm working with today.
Okay. My bad, Brian.
Debbie
My bad.
Downer
Look, he did take me down a notch yesterday. I was actually one of those people that was like, man, I love what guys are doing. And then I read his tweet, and I was like, oh.
I felt like he was talking about the Texas Rangers on our broadcast there for a little bit. But I'll say this, though, and you're absolutely right. I'm just having fun with you there. The thing, I'll tell you this, where I was wrong about going into this, the learning curve for Cooper Beebe is deeper than I thought it was going to be. And the reason, and you're thinking plug and play, he's always played tackle, he's played guard, he can play center. He hasn't played center in a while. And now it's having to relearn how to snap, how to make the shotgun snap. You don't realize how hard it is. And I played the position, though, a long, long time ago. To snap, to step, to hand placement, to make calls, all those things. Cooper Beebe is clearly able to do that. Brock Hoffman has played at times very, very well out here. There's no question. And Mike Solari, the line coach, is like, oh, let's not forget. We were even on the draft coverage. Well, let's not forget Brock Hoffman here. We're all like, Cooper Beebe. We were jumping up and down talking about that. And all of a sudden, it's like, Mike Solari is like, we got this Brock Hoffman. So I think they kind of understood that maybe there was going to be a little bit of a learning curve here. It is pretty deep right now, and that's the thing he's dealing with. Could in the next 3 weeks and 2-3 preseason games, could that be different? I think we are looking at Brock Hoffman starting at center against the Cleveland Browns. If I had to right now say what they were going to do, it's going to be Brock Hoffman starting at center.
And I think an interesting conversation that might be more appropriate down the line whenever these things get finalized is if Cooper Beebe does not win that center position.
Right. He's got to go win it now. I mean, it's not plug and play, hey, we drafted you, let's go.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we've got a guy that's Brock Hoffman's not falling down out here.
Yeah.
I mean, he's doing his job.
Yeah, and if Beebe doesn't win that center spot, where does he kind of go as far as what his role will be moving forward? And he could be a legitimate guy that you rotate in the interior offensive line if there's an injury that happens. But you also have T.J. Bass there. And we've talked about Zach Martin potentially. Yeah. He's teetered with the idea of retirement. He's talked about it a couple of times this offseason. If he were to sign a 1-year deal to come back for another season or a 2-year deal to come back for a couple of more seasons, again, where are you going to start factoring in Cooper Beebe? And then you look up, again, this is probably way more appropriate down the line. I'm just kind of thinking on it is, do you maybe wish you took that running back in the 3rd round, looking back on it? But I think
don't
that's
dance
probably,
that dance now.
Yeah, I think that's probably.
Where were you when I needed you on that night?
Exactly. I was all in on getting that interior guy.
Whoa, hey, Cooper Beebe. Yeah. And I'm like, man, there's this running back at USC we need to talk about.
Marshawn Lloyd, 1,000%. Yeah.
But no, you're absolutely right. Because I think if they had to play right now, if something were to happen to the interior, I think T.J. Bass is their guy. Yeah. I don't think it's Cooper Beebe. I think you know what they need to do is they need to keep Cooper Beebe playing center. Just keep him there. Keep playing center. Let Bass, even though Bass, there was a couple times yesterday, a guy, our defensive tackle Rogers got him a little bit yesterday, and so on a couple of moves and stuff. So I was kind of like, okay, this is all right, but I just keep Cooper Beebe at center. And then, Bass, let him be that veteran guy. He's a 2nd-year guy, basically, to be that guy that if they had something to go on at either guard spot, he'd be the fill-in guy.
Tell you what, you mentioned Justin Rogers. Keep an eye out there.
I tell you what, Justin Rogers, I go down there at the defensive tackle spot every single day. I spend the first hour of practice going down there and watching Jeff Zagina and those guys work down there. And I'm trying to kind of figure out, what do they teach in Mazi? What are they teaching the defensive tackles? There are things that Rogers is doing. There are things that Rogers is doing. Did you get a little rain on you there or something?
Well, I keep seeing random raindrops fall, but I guess it's the tree.
It's like we're in
Honolulu. Where is it coming from?
Yeah. But the thing with Rogers, as you mentioned, though, there's some things he's doing with his hands and control and movement, and you're like going, man, if Mazi was doing this right now, we'd be throwing a parade, as I like to say.
Yeah.
And they're trying. I mean, they are coaching him as hard. I mean, with Mazi, it's going to be about it's either going to succeed or it's going to break him. That's how hard they're coaching him right now. And so, but Rogers and those guys are picking things up down there. They really are.
Scanina's been tearing into Mazi a few times.
Yeah, and you know what? Like I said, he's asking him to do it his way. He's, it's step, hands, up, not out, up. And then there's an F-bomb in there.
Yeah, I was about to say, you're missing a couple of words.
Yeah, you said it you were doing it very nicely.
But that's how, and it's not like, it's like, again, Mazi, again. I mean, it's like 5 reps in a row.
Yeah.
And they're trying. I mean, and Mazi is, but the others seem to be picking it up a little bit better and executing it a little better at this point than what you're getting with Mazi right now. Strong guy, but man, they're trying so hard to work on his technique. Feet, hands.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take our final break. We'll come back. We've gotten into this offensive line conversation, so I'll continue with that. I have a couple more questions for you guys on the offensive line. We'll also try to sneak in an observation from Brian from practice. We'll do that when we come back. DallasCowboys.com radio.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the Playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
If you can't be at the stadium, there's no better way to watch your Cowboys than on an LG OLED Evo TV. That's because everything you see is more lifelike. Every play, every hit. I mean, you might as well be on the sidelines. That's how clear it is. It's all thanks to LG's legendary technology. Perfect black, over 8.3 million self-lit pixels. No one comes close. LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game for a reason. See for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
From the field to the festivities, Lucchese embodies the essence of luxury and tradition. Handcrafted with meticulous precision, each pair offers unmatched comfort and style. Stand tall while you're tailgating or cheering in the stands with the Dallas Cowboys collection by Lucchese. Shop the collection today at the Lucchese store at the Star in Frisco or online at lucchese.com. Lucchese, the official boot of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Back to the break.
AT&T, official sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys.
Welcome back. Final segment of the break. We are live from Oxnard, California. This segment brought to you by blockchain.com. Ding! All right, let's continue this conversation on the offensive lineman. A name that hasn't come up yet for us on our show this year, but I think is very important to Cowboys fans, or should be, is Terrence Steele. He's a guy that has shown really good things throughout his career here with the Cowboys. One of those guys that came from being an underdog to being a starter and performing well, and then had the injury. And last year, kind of inconsistent results. Yeah. What have you guys seen from him so far this year, Camp?
I'll tell you, 2 days ago, I got stuck on the VIP side of the field, so it was all about watching left tackle play.
Yeah.
Which was okay because Guyton was over here being left tackle guy. So yesterday I made it a point to work my way around and watch a little bit more. And then when they were doing the mojo moment, the 2-point plays, we got to see the tackle, on our side going the other way. So got to see him a little bit. I think he's moving around a little bit better than last year. I think he looks a little bit more confident in what's going on. You watch him and having to deal with Parsons, and Parsons is a pain in the ass to deal with, especially when it's like it's the big mojo moment. We got to get a stop kind of thing because he's going to go flying down inside, and you're going to have to try and cut him off, and he's just going to be powerful. He's going to overpower you. But I think the movement, the pass sets, the things that I've been watching, like in the one-on-one stuff, he looks comfortable. He looks like he's back to a little bit of his old self with the way that his hands and his feet kind of work together, though. I don't think he's ever going to be a really, really strong guy. But I think the athletic ability is always going to be his calling card, and that looks like it's coming back to him.
You are starting to see what a full offseason can do for him now. I mean, there was enough trust in him last year coming off that ACL injury to give him that 5-year, $82.5 million contract. And in the back half of the season, I'd put those last 6 games of the season that Terrence Steele put together, I'd put that up with any 6 games he's had in his career. Like, I feel really strongly about how he finished the season, even though he started it really rough. Like, he really had to find his footing whenever he was making his way back from that ACL injury. But I think coming in this year, you see that full off season. You see that confidence that he was able to build. Again, it's going to be seeing it in pads and seeing it a little bit more as time goes on. But so far, so good as far as what I like from Terrence Steele. You have 3 trusted guys on that offensive line in my eyes, and Terrence Steele's one of them.
Yeah, I think not everyone is going to be great. Not everyone's going to be bad. You're going to have those guys that are going to be your solid guys that
Absolutely.
They're just going to be there. They're going to do their job, and they're going to have moments where they do get dominated and they lose the battle. But I think he's a solid guy. He's the least of my worries right now when you look at the rest of the team, even in the rest of the line. We talked about the other guys, but I think he looks like he's been. I haven't noticed anything that gives me a whole lot to worry about and be like, man, we got to find somebody else. No, we got enough problems, and he's not one of them.
99 problems.
Yeah.
He ain't one.
Yeah,
All right.
he ain't one.
So Brian, we did need to still get to
Yeah.
your observation. Give us a camp observation that you've seen over the last 2 days in pads.
You know what? When you watch Trey Lance throw the football, there's problems with him throwing the ball outside the numbers, at least up until yesterday's practice. I thought he threw the ball down the field better, but to the outside. So, but the thing that I worry about Trey Lance, and we've seen 3 opportunities now. There was a time when they were running a team period. It's a 2-minute period. They were driving the field. This was with no pads. This was shells, and they're coming down. And it came down to the final play, and it's quick scramble, get everybody to the line, try and get everybody going. Defense plasters their guys, and now there's no time, and he takes off running, and he gets stopped. Lost opportunity. Goal line situation here. What happens is heavy play action, like I was talking about. They got the Crooms coming across. He doesn't see Crooms, or he thinks he sees Crooms, but Bell's standing right there, makes the throw. Another red zone mistake. Then what happens yesterday? 2-minute drill. They're driving down. They're driving the ball, driving well. He gets them down, has an incompletion to the sidelines. Now they're down to their last play. And here we are, 6 seconds. What's the one thing you can't do? Can't hold the ball. You got to get rid of the ball. Takes a snap, drops back. Plays developing, clock runs out, no points. It's 3 times that we've seen Trey Lance in those tight red zone situations come up empty. You know, I think there's some things about him. I think it's all about the learning curve, the experience that he's getting out here. But if you said something, it was like, Trey Lance is not accurate. Yeah, there's some truth to that, especially outside the numbers, but I thought he was better yesterday. But the thing that concerns me is 3 red zone trips, 0 for 3. Yeah. 2 of them were situations where he's got to be quicker with his decision making and make the throws. And then, like I say, the interception, he just didn't see Marquise Bell. Something they're going to have to look at and maybe analyze a little bit more for him.
Yeah, and as far as just being quicker, I think that could be probably an indictment on all of Trey Lance's game so far out here at camp. He's got to be quicker. He's got to be more decisive. You haven't quite seen that, and it was funny because you finally saw him build some confidence there on that 2-minute drive.
Yes.
He had those 3 straight completions, and it was 3 different receivers, Tyron Billy Johnson, Tolbert, and Brooks. And he gets down the field in a hurry, and it's like, okay, we're starting to see this confidence build.
Right.
And then, again, that indecisiveness shows up in the red zone. So preseason is obviously going to be the biggest opportunity for him. You know, he could go out and have a huge preseason game, and we forget all about this, but it's not trending that way. I'll say that.
Yeah, the interesting thing, we've seen that before with quarterbacks that out here, they aren't as great, and then you get them over under lights. I think Dak's a great example.
I was
of
like,
that.
QB1.
You get him under the lights, and then all of a sudden
that
it
Rams
pops,
game
right?
in preseason 16 was one of. I mean, he's throwing the ball like he's. Looks like Steve Young out there. I mean,
yeah. So, and by the way, part of practice is kind of working through things that you're finding out. Can I make this throw? You're finding out, did I make that read? You're learning out here, so you don't want to put too much into it. But yeah, you have to evaluate it.
Like you say, I think everybody's making a big deal about his accuracy. I think that could get better. It's like you get down, like Nick was talking about. You drive the ball, you're making positive plays, and all of a sudden, you have got to get rid of the ball here. If you don't see it, get rid of it and let us fight for another play.
Yeah.
You can't use up all 6 seconds down here.
Yep.
You know, and like I say, they after the interception, Brian Schottenheimer put Cooper Rush in there. He said, go. Yeah, go in there. You know.
It's disappointing because I was super excited when we got here. It's like he has the way he carries himself would make you think that his play is way better than what it actually is.
He doesn't have a lot of experience.
Yeah.
He really
didn't have a lot coming into the NFL.
He really doesn't. And the more you dig into his background, the more you're like going, he's only played that much?
Yeah.
You know, so you're right. Every rep he gets out here is great.
Yeah.
Every preseason snap he gets is great. You know, and but that was the one thing when you ask an observation, it's like, okay, don't worry about the accuracy part because that can come. What's going on down in the red zone? You have 3 trips down there, and you're expecting 3 scores, and you have an interception and 2 plays where you run out of time. You know, it got to be a little bit more on there.
All right, appreciate you guys joining us. We'll be back on next Monday, and we'll dive into all things happening this weekend. We got an interesting practice. We'll actually be streaming the practice live, and so you'll have an opportunity to be able to check out some of practice, listen to some. Is that Sunday? Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. Yeah, our producer got me all switched around here. Saturday. It's Saturday. Okay, good. So Saturday, and we'll have some of our analysts on. They'll be walking you through practice and what you're seeing out there. Till then, for Brian Broaddus, Amber Garcia, Nick Harris, I am Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break, live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?